How's it going, everyone? Smiggles here again. The topic of today's video is going to be World of Tanks and why it's a great example of a free-to-play game. Now, for those of you who don't know what World of Tanks is, just a quick run over it. World of Tanks came out on PC a good few years ago now. It's grown phenomenally on PC. Came out on the 360 probably close to 2 years ago now, maybe a bit more. It's on the Xbox One, it's going to be a PS4, I think a PS3 as well. But the next gen consoles obviously looks an awful lot prettier and everything like that. The game itself has been going for ages. It's got a huge community behind it. It's great to see it come onto console as well as free to play game. It's free on PC as well, but it's just an example, as I said, of a great free to play game. Now, I suppose free to play, kind of the mobile industry really pumped up free to play games, and the methods they have in them, we've all seen it, where you want to upgrade this, or you want to unlock something to make the game easier for yourself, you got to pay money. You want gold coins, you got to pay money. You're building up a base or something like that, and you want it built now instead of waiting 7 hours, say, to build a barracks or something like that. Oh yeah, you can pay money. You can fast track through the game. But World of Tanks is just, there's many other games, but this is a great example of a game that you can grind through. You can get from tier 1, your basic starter tanks, right up to tier 10 top tanks, without ever spending a cent or a penny or any other denomination of currency. And sure, like if you go into the tanks here in the menus, you'll see tanks like, well, straight away here, the T2 light tank will cost 750 gold, but there's absolutely no reason. The only reason why you would buy that tank is if you really liked it and wanted to use it, and but these ones here, like the T1, you start off with that T1 and then T18, T82, sorry. So when you're working your way up, there's an actual sense of achievement. Like with my tanks here, the top one, the T32, that's as far up as I've gotten. But I'm very close to a tier 9, I believe. 10,000 more stars. But when I get that, there's a sense of achievement. You've actually earned it with this game, by playing your matches. Now, to get to that tank, the one before it, it's over here in the US column. From the M6 up to that T29 here, that took about, give or take, like a day of play. Well, like I say, I started today, and then by the same phase tomorrow, putting a couple of hours in for both days, and then ended up getting the T29, and then the same up to the T32. I grinded out. It is a grindy game, but there is a sense of achievement when you actually get there. And when you see these tanks, like here you go, T26 E4, 7,000 gold. Like the gold currency is what you pay your real money for, and then the T34 there is 12,000 gold. So if you take 12,000 gold over here in the store, I don't know, I have 7 days premium. They must be doing a run this week, because that's what this game does as well. Every so often they get free 3 days of premium. You get reductions on tanks. You get, like, the community is very active for this game, and it's always getting updated. They're always listening to feedback of the fans, and by doing that, they're actually building a solid fan base around the game. So if I get gold, what was it, 12,000? So, well, what have we got? 12. There you go. So that's €43, and probably what, about £30 or it's probably about what, $50 or something like that, like just for one tank. And now, like, the game is it's kind of discouraging you doing that by putting a high price tag on a tank like that, because you're not going to pay, like, if you think about that, you're paying that for one tank. That's it. Like, if you look at my garage, I've an arsenal of tanks here from every different one that, like, I've all earned. The game does every so often give you a gold tank. They do promotions and this, that, and the other. But they discourage you from just blowing all your money on a tank. But they do give the option there. Like, if you want to spend your money on that tank, fine, go ahead. But when you buy a gold tank, you can't advance. Like, you can't go in and buy, like, normally they're level 8, I think is the highest. So as you can see from, like, say if we look at the Tiger here, you can go from the Tiger to the Tiger 2 and then on to the E75, so on. But with these gold tanks, you can't go anywhere from them. So when you get them, that's it. They earn you more stars that you can spend on your tanks. Your other tanks, I should say. I suppose they're known as elite status tanks. So everything you earn, goes straight into converting into your stars. Now, one downside, if you do have elite tanks, you need to go over here to convert XP, which costs gold to convert. But even at that, you can still, as I say, you do not need to spend a penny on the game. The game is free. You can just grind and grind and grind, and it is a game that it's hard to sit at and completely grind it out, like spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours playing it. But at the same time, it's a great game to throw on for a couple of hours, play a couple of matches. It's great if you have a few friends as well to play it with. But as I said, it's a great example. It's kind of setting a good foundation for what a free-to-play game is. A game that you can spend as little or as much time to succeed. But at the same time, as I went back to the start with mobile game, and you can just buy your way to the top. But even as you've seen with those tanks, when you buy a gold tank, you can't move on. You can't just go in. You can go in straight away and spend 50 quid on a gold tank level 8, but that's it. That's the only thing you've got. You can't move on from there. So the game is kind of saying to you, no, you need to play this like video games are supposed to be played. You start at the bottom and you work your way up, and you get a sense of actual achievement, like, I actually bloody earned that tank, just like video games should be. You shouldn't have to go in and buy extra bits and this, that, and the other. And you shouldn't be able to buy your way to the top, basically. And even when you say, oh well, there's an tier 8 tank there you can buy, you go in and destroy people. No, you won't. Like, the gold tanks do a good job, but they're not by any means, like, if you buy a level 8 gold tank there, it's not better than other level 8s. Like, it's a game where you actually have to get experience with and get good skill. You get your skill level up, basically, and actually start becoming better at the game. And as I said, the community that's built around it, like, they're constantly adding new tanks, new maps, new everything. And people do spend money. Like, I have gold there, but I deem it acceptable to throw some money every month or two. I'll buy a bit of gold. Just as I say, like, these tanks here, these are elite tanks, but they're elite because I've unlocked everything on them. So then I can, use gold to exchange. And I don't mind doing that because the game is actually well made and it's well supported. And at the same time, though, there are other tanks that I've grinded up without using, without selling anything, or selling any of my stars or anything. I've literally earned everything I bloody have in the game. But it's just a video just to say that this is what a free-to-play game, should be. Like, we shouldn't accept that you get a game and there's content there that you have to pay for to get, like, because the tanks that are generally in this that are exclusive gold tanks, they're generally tanks that were prototype tanks that were never seen in the war and everything. But it likes here your Wolverines and all your Shermans and T-34s and KV-1 tanks. All those tanks are in to earn normally. You don't have to go crazy spending loads of money on the game, but you kind of get more for producing something good and producing something that isn't it doesn't, the game doesn't have a hand in your wallet all the time. It's completely up to you. And people say, oh well, it's always up to you with a game, but certain games they almost force you to be spending your money on it, because you're not going to enjoy it. You're going to have to sit around and wait until you earn so much, or not earn so much, sit around and wait till something's built to do something else, or I can't really do that level unless I have a better weapon or better this and that and the other. And the game unfairly forces you to spend money. Like, even in this, you've got ammunition, different types of ammunition on tanks, and generally the one you'll always have 0 rounds for there will be one you can spend gold on, because it's like an armor piercing round, or you'll have an explosive tip round, or different types of rounds. But again, you can just use your silver that you earn from every battle to put this into your tank. Same with equipment, consumables, all that stuff. You don't have to use gold. You don't. It's a completely well-rounded system of free to play. And as I was saying, like, the support that comes through from the creators of this has been phenomenal. And these guys are also responsible, obviously, for World of Planes and World of Ships is the newer one now. It's only on PC, but they still continue that. If you make something good, people will still spend money on it, but they're spending money on it because they enjoy it, they like it, they're showing their appreciation, and it's a better system than throwing out a free-to-play game that has a crap system of basically, oh well, you want that weapon, well, that's going to cost you £4 or $4 or whatever, or this, that and the other. And we've seen it creep in with other big titles that aren't free to play, but like, they have content on them that they shouldn't be. You shouldn't have to spend money. Like, Evolve at the start of last year, everyone's forgotten about it, but like, they had DLC, like, you paid like €1 or €2 for just a blue colored gun. Like, that's not that's not a way of making money. It's a cheap way of making money out of something that should be just there as a normal feature in a game. But we see free-to-play games and we instantly think, oh, they're just going to grab our money off us. But it's just an awful lot of people play tanks. An awful lot of people, you're watching this and going, oh, I know all this. But there's an awful lot of people out there that would see World of Tanks and see it's free, and they'd automatically assume that it's one of those games that just tries to grab money off you. Like, and when you start the game, they give you, I'm pretty sure when you first download the game, you give you a day's premium. Now, yeah, when you have premium, you get a little bit more for each battle. You get a little bit more experience points, a little bit more stars, coin, this, that and the other. But at the same time, there's still nothing. It still doesn't stop you from working your way up as normal. And they're always doing promotions. Like I've got 7 days of premium here, and I definitely did not buy that. So I know it for a fact, they always normally do weekends where everyone gets, the full 2 days of a weekend free premium. And premium isn't even that expensive. Like, a day is 250 gold there. Like, normally, I suppose if you're buying gold, I think the best value is probably the 3,000 gold pack for the €12 here. So it's going to be obviously probably about £7.99, or probably maybe $13-14, something like that. But at still time, like, the same time there, you're paying £12, and like, you buy a day's premium, because it's a type of game that you'll say, right, yeah, over the next day I'm going to give tanks a lash. I'm going to play it a good bit. But it's not a game like you're going to sit day in, day out. It's a fun game you'll always go back to. And as I've said, like, just kudos to the creators of this game for making, you know, free to play done right. As I keep saying it, but, you know, it's like that old thing, if you throw enough shit at the wall, some of it will stick. You know, if you keep saying it's a good game, like, you know, some people will listen and will pick it up. And it's also well made in other ways, like, you know, you get a little bit of history on the tanks. The tanks all have very good detail on them. The maps are good. They're all, like, well, some people have favourites and some people hate certain maps, but that's the same with any game. But yeah, so it's just a quick video here. I was just going to give a discussion there, which I've given, on just why World of Tanks is a good example of a free-to-play game, and more people should follow it. But anyway, I've been Smiggles, and I hope you enjoyed the video and the discussion here. And I'll chat to you guys later.